Tonight on Capitol Hill, a warning that goes far beyond one hearing room and one cabinet nominee. What began as another routine exchange in the Kristi Noem Homeland Security hearing quickly turned into a stark indictment of how immigration enforcement is being carried out in the United States right now, and why some lawmakers say the rules of democracy itself are being ignored. Before we go deeper, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss these critical breakdowns of what's really happening in Washington.
Ms. Torres, Ms. Dexter, thank you for raising the concerns regarding ICE. I said at the opening of this hearing, which was like 100 hours ago, but I said, one of the things that troubles me is that some of us are playing by the old rules. And I think the executive branch is not playing by those rules. In fact, they're not playing by rules at all. And I think everybody here agrees that people who commit violent and terrible crimes ought to be held account, no matter where they were born, no matter where they were born. I mean, we're all committed to that. But what is troubling when it comes to ICE has been the excesses and the cruelty have just kind of been justified or ignored, or it's no big deal, or get over it. When U.S. citizens are being put in detention. I mentioned earlier I did a field hearing in Everett, Massachusetts, with Ayanna Presley on food insecurity, and it's a very diverse population that lives in Everett. And we did this gathering in a supermarket that was owned by a family that came from Colombia, but they're U.S. citizens. And they're telling us that, people who are U.S. citizens, people who are legal immigrants, who are legally here, are afraid to come to the store.
That's right.
Because they're afraid they'll be picked up for no reason, or they'll be questioned or detained, and, and they don't know what's going to happen. They're following the news. And the fact that nobody seems to want to address these excesses and these violations of human rights, quite frankly, and the fact that we're not doing the oversight here in Congress that, quite frankly, we should be doing, I think has resulted in you and a number of others coming up here and saying, we got to offer amendments. We have to debate these things, and we have to vote on them. I am under no illusion that Kristi Noem at Homeland Security will address any of these things. I've been shocked at her insensitivity. I'm stunned. I think the only hope is that we do. And so I thank you for your amendments, and I look forward to supporting them all.
Thank you.
I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. McGovern. Mr. Griffith.
I don't have any questions, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Representative Jim McGovern did not mince words. He acknowledged something that nearly everyone across the political spectrum agrees on: violent crimes must be punished, and accountability should apply no matter where someone was born. But McGovern made it clear that this consensus is being used as political cover for something much darker. According to him, immigration and customs enforcement has moved beyond enforcement and into excess, cruelty, and fear-driven practices that are no longer being seriously questioned or restrained. This is not just about undocumented immigrants. That distinction matters, and McGovern emphasized it for a reason. He described U.S. citizens and legal immigrants being detained or questioned without cause, people who are legally in this country, people who have every right to live their lives freely, now afraid to step into grocery stores or go about daily routines. If you're finding this reporting valuable, subscribe now so more people can understand how policy decisions translate into real-world consequences. McGovern pointed to a field hearing he held in Everett, Massachusetts, a diverse working-class community. He and Representative Ayanna Presley were there to talk about food insecurity, but what they heard revealed something far more alarming. A supermarket owned by a Colombian-American family, U.S. citizens, told lawmakers that customers were staying away, not because of prices or shortages, but because of fear. Fear that walking into a store could lead to questioning, detention, or worse, even when they have done nothing wrong. That fear does not come from nowhere. It comes from a system that people believe no longer follows clear rules. McGovern accused the executive branch of abandoning long-standing norms, saying Congress is still playing by the old rules, while the administration is not playing by any rules at all. Oversight, which is one of Congress's most important constitutional responsibilities, is being sidelined. And when oversight fails, abuses grow unchecked. If you want clear, honest explanations of how power works and when it breaks down, be sure to subscribe. Perhaps the most striking moment came when McGovern openly admitted he has no faith that Kristi Noem, if confirmed as Homeland Security Secretary, would fix any of this. He described being shocked by what he called her insensitivity and stunned by her unwillingness to confront the human rights concerns surrounding ICE's actions. That is an extraordinary statement in a confirmation hearing because it signals that lawmakers already expect the department to continue on its current path. Instead, McGovern said the only remaining hope lies within Congress itself: amendments, debate, recorded votes, and public accountability. In other words, forcing these issues into the open, where they can no longer be dismissed as overreactions or isolated incidents. This is not just a disagreement over immigration policy. It is a struggle over whether fear becomes an accepted tool of governance. When U.S. citizens are afraid of their own government, when legal residents feel they must hide to stay safe, and when oversight is treated as an inconvenience instead of a duty, something fundamental has shifted. That is what this moment in the hearing revealed, and that is why it matters far beyond the soundbite. If you want continued coverage that doesn't just replay the clip, but explains what it means, who it affects, and where it leads, subscribe to the channel now. These hearings are shaping lives in real time, and understanding them has never been more important.